comes to EMEA playoffs, I'll take that any day of the week because, look, Turkey's looking damn scary these days.
Yeah, Supermassive Blaze in particular are a team that I think if anybody is not worried about going into that EMEA, you're a fool, because it looked like they built an all-star Turkish roster. Even some of the players who we previously saw in EU, like Pora, going over to that team, so that's going to be exciting. Now, I think it's good that we're seeing Liquid start off on the attack. It's been an attacking series, but also the composition really looks to thrive within that. Two like duelists obviously coming in, but also I feel like Scream almost counts as a third. Like his Sage has always been very aggressive.
It definitely has. Speaking of aggression, we've got the man himself, Hoodie, on the screen. Ambi supporting him and ready to take some fights. In fact, 3 of them inside. It's going to be an even duel, but one that goes Liquid's way. Solkus is dominating with the frenzy in hand, but he's got a player behind him. And Lee does not know. David P swapping out the weapon, but not able to get it done. The 1v1 Scream. Oh, he's on 12 HP. He's so low. It's time to get out of there and pop that heal. In fact, all the way into the teleporter. I thought he's sticking around. He's actually going to go for this plan, fully committing to it, getting it all the way, and knowing this player has to come from Lamps. The steps hard, the shot's not landing. Meadow clutches it out on 5 HP. An intense pistol round that puts Vodafone Giants ahead by 1.
Yeah, an incredibly close one at that. I think he's going to look for a slight pistol upgrade just to finish off the round, but I think we're going to get more of the same from Liquid in a lot of these rounds. You have to look at also, I feel like ultimates on Bind are also incredibly important. That's why we see Brimstone play quite a lot. Like obviously, I think also the smokes are a little bit more viable. The maps where you obviously have a lot larger distance, but the fact that you can clear things so easily with these ults, and then you have to look at the fact that you've now got Bladestorm, Showstopper. Like they could have some of the scariest eco rounds you're ever gonna see. So I'm excited by this composition from Liquid. Whether it works or not, another thing altogether.
Well, with 1-0, Team Liquid probably won't be finding that success in this round here. It is just pistols, as Tom likes to say. But it's 4 sheriffs and a ghost, and already good damage done by Scream, with David P tagged to 58 HP within an inch of his life on a peek behind the smoke. Not how you want things to go. Of course, for the majority of these Vodafone Giants players, Tom, they've got Spectres. Now, you know, when you're facing against players that don't have armor, generally the Spectre is going to be perfect, but on a ranged duel, there's definitely the possibility, with numbers in their favor, if Liquid do manage to group up and take fights, for those sheriffs to win those duels, or at least to find a pretty even fight.
Well, they've got the flashes through coming elsewhere, so I think there's going to be a pretty decent idea of where Liquid are going to be coming from in this round. Also got a nano swarm down close as well, so they're just being delayed more and more by utility. In fact, another one down just in case they try and claim some lamps control. And we're going to see Yumpy dash into the site. Solcast already picking off another. Now, it might not seem like much, but he's now 1 orb away from getting his showstopper, and we're going into round number 3, and they didn't win either of these rounds.
Going into round 3, I wonder where Liquid are going to be taking things. We saw the preference on both Icebox and on Breeze. The A site was consistently hit. These guys were running it down again and again. And I do wonder if the favorite right here might be the same. Getting out on the B is tough. You're running through a choke point. You're playing up against a Raze there as well. And Vodafone Giants, even 3-man stacked in the early stages, but it doesn't look like Liquid are going to have an early favorite. Instead, they're spreading out for default control and fighting for these ult orbs on the wings. I like this approach a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a smart decision to try and get like these ultimates online, especially when you're facing off against, at least for now, what is a weaker purchase. Like there's not going to be the ability to fight for a lot of this control. Interestingly, it did seem that Giants wanted to try and challenge for the B orb, and for now, at least, they might actually have it. It doesn't seem like there's going to be too much pressure. And interestingly, one of the main points of contention is actually looking like it's towards Hookah, which, I'll be honest, in this sort of round, seems like the worst place to push.
Yeah, in an eco, it's not necessarily going to be a favorite of a lot of teams, but they're using their Raze utility to clear it out. The boom bot through the nade to follow, and now they've got control. They've pushed Vodafone Giants out of a very comfortable zone to hold. That means they have to take a lot of range duels, but they're holding close on long, having pushed all the way down. Solkas probably won't expect this, and indeed, he gets caught off guard. 2 kills quickly spin things in a Vodafone Giants' favor, although they can't hold on to it for very long. Getting out here, Scream needs to be careful. There's another player coming in through the spawn. He's got him through the wall. He's on 1 HP, but still manages to get 3. Now, Orbital Strike online for David P, and it looks like he's going to activate it. Going to expend it right now, stopping the plant, but the time was wasn't too far gone. There was 15 seconds left. So you could just back off, go back and plant afterwards. I don't know that was good commitment, Tom, using the Orbital Strike there in a 1 versus 3. Maybe if there was like 7 seconds left or something, but other than that, it felt like it was going to be impossible.
That was the thing that was curious to me, is he uses it when either there's enough time for the plant to be stuck, if it was that close to the time, or we just saw what happened, which was he falls back. In which case, if you're expecting him to fall back, then running in is, again, also curious, because chances are that's going to be one of the spots that's missed. But, oh well, it's gone now. It definitely, as said at the beginning of the map, it's one of the most impactful ones, and Link is not far away from it. We've also got the res and the showstopper.
You will not kill
Well, Showstopper's having a bit of trouble finding a target. Everyone's dead as they rush into the side, and oh, David P. That was not the cleanest of fights, and after a decent bonus round in the previous, the buy round certainly isn't going well. I mean, I would like to find the person who's surprised that the bonus looks better for Vodafone Giants than the buy, because it's a trend that we're seeing again and again, at least in the early stages of a lot of these maps, a lot of these series from Vodafone Giants. They're now saving these 2 weapons almost certainly, hoping to get a little bit of an exit there. Hoodie playing close. Tom, that's not a great start to the map. You win the pistol, you win the follow-up, and then you get slapped out of 2 rounds with Team Liquid building up a bunch of credits as they go. Ultimates, sure, being expended here and there, but it's all about those round wins at the end of the day.
Yeah, I will still premise this with, again, I'm expecting both teams to get, like, the majority of their rounds on the attack. Like, you look at I would say the big victories we've seen. The last time that Liquid played against Giants, it was 10 rounds on the attack for Giants versus Fnatic, 8 rounds on the attack for Giants versus Rick, 7 rounds on the attack versus Big, 11 rounds on the attack. It's only versus Alliance where they actually won out on the defensive side. So it's one of those things where realistically they do normally start as well on that attacking side, so it could just be that. I don't want to read into it too much and say like their defense is going to be poor, but all I'm really stating is if Liquid are going to have a good match here, they need to do well on their attacking side, because it's not going to be too hard for their opponents. I like that though, a little combination, not allowing Hoodie to fall back. He wanted to get his ultimate online. He technically has succeeded in that, but he is also dead.
I do find that the ultis aren't much use when you're dead.
That is true.
Just a general piece of wisdom there. Did he headshot him? He did. Yampi's 5 HP, the 145 headshot. I challenge you to find something more frustrating than that, especially when it's the Opper that you managed to dink up. But with that, Bathrooms is cleared. They've got full site control. Their flank is watched. Everything's on lockdown for Team Liquid. In fact, they've even healed Yampy up. Still gonna be quite weak, but at least it might give them time to get a shot off if they do decide to push. With Fatino just having himself a classic, of course he's gonna go for the fight.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose in this scenario. I have actually seen like a fair few people sort of put out there that's like, oh yeah, no, one of the changes that needs to come in is like the sheriff being 1 shot to the head. And it was like, I think my Counter-Strike mind was like, yeah. And then I was actually thinking about it and I was like, no, because it's such a cheap gun, and also it's almost like what's the point of the Marshal anymore other than the scope? It's like you would literally just make that gun completely void in most cases. So I think it's good where it is. It forces you to play a little bit more positionally, and we still see a ridiculous amount of rounds won by such a cheap piece of kit.
Yeah, I don't think it quite needs to be any more powerful.
Doesn't need a buff.
No. Especially, it's like at the cost that it's at, you would literally just have to remove the Marshal and then make it more expensive. Make it like 1K. that would be the only way I think it would actually
And then
get
give
buff.
it a scope and call it the Marshall.
Call it the Marshall. Yeah. Oh, well, 3-2, Tom. We move on with the rounds with Vodafone Giants. They don't want to move on. They want to take a moment. They want to take a breather. As they invest into this round, it's not so much just about the credits. It is the ultimates as well.
Yeah,
the fact that we have a lockdown, the fact that we have a showstopper, and nothing there for Team Liquid yet. But they are very close. And I think the main challenge for Vodafone Giants here, Tom, is if they do want to use that lockdown, it's stopping Link from getting an ult orb at the start of the round or from getting a kill. Because that lockdown will immediately just be useless if Orbital Strike is online. In fact, it would be even worse than useless. It would be a negative thing to activate because then you're obviously standing on it. And if he's ready, he can ult you and at least damage you as you go out and counter your ultimate.
Yeah, it would almost become a game of chicken, of like, are you going to use the lockdown before I use the orbital strike, or am I going to use the orbital strike to clear positions and then you'll use the lockdown? Like, it becomes mind games more than anything else. Now, I was expecting a challenge here for the ultimate orbs. Again, we're going to see the slow to try and deny anybody escaping if they were to go for it in the early round. And when it comes to the A site, it's not really been a battle for that position. This is what Bind becomes a lot of the time, trying to make sure that you deny your opponents the ability to get them online. But in this case, I don't think they're going to be able to, because Link, well, he's going to get that all.
Yep, he's got it online. Here comes the showstopper, or the party, as Fatino wants to call it. But sadly, it's one of those parties, like my birthday when I was 10. No one's showed up to it. So Fatino, he isn't
11,
having a great time.
when you were 12, and when you...
Yeah. No, I just stopped having parties at a certain point. Just ate a cupcake, and that was my day.
Get the cake to yourself. It's the big brain play.
Why do you think I was so fat, Tom? That's the problem.
Blinded.
Well,
They
3-2.
used the showstopper to almost slow them down, but the fact is there was enough time on the clock that Liquid have just waited. It has, however, pulled in the rotation, but then, the Molotov in combination with it, but somehow he manages to get out of there. It's decent trades, but ultimately it still comes up well for the Giants.
You're kicking yourself when that happens, going up on the wall and it gets broken, a pixel being the biggest enemy, and now you don't have the orbital strike to deal with this, so someone's got to push it. There's 10 seconds left. It's time to plant. They've got to commit to it, and it looks like Yampy's going to get detained for this. He hasn't got the dash to get out of there, and yeah, he is in trouble. He is stuck. Don't know what that double up drop was about. Yampy, you blocked him. He just stood right in front of Scream. Oh no.
Thanks.
Well, that was a tragedy. I don't want to linger on that one for too long. Vodafone Giants 3-3 after a pretty shaky round from Team Liquid.
Just like body
be your
blocks where I'm
shield.
like, no, I will take the bullets. It's like, you're not that strong.
It's like in a movie, you know, when they dive in front to protect the bullet, to take the bullet, but instead he's just hugged him. It's just like embraced him fully, and Scream's like, I'm trying to shoot this guy. I'm trying to shoot this guy, bro. Come on, get off me. Oh, that was sad. That was an unfortunate series of events that led to Vodafone Giants tying it up. And hey, they definitely come out on top in that one. An orbital strike online for David P as well. And they have got they're 3-man second the A side for early bathroom control, but Team Liquid seem to be quickly moving it in towards B, already taking down Fatino. And Yampy, although he's tagged up, he's still good to I was going to say good to entry, but in fact it's Solkus that dives through. And even with Yampy falling, this is a big plus for Team Liquid. That was a big plus for Team Liquid.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. Soulcast has fallen. He's definitely looking good when it comes to his Raze play. As it's been said, it's been a long time since we've seen it. Now, David P's position is definitely low. The Molotov actually hasn't cleared him properly. And more just a second of patience would have actually given him that information. But we are going to see a push coming through. Meadow using the turret, but he takes a headshot straight from Scream, and Ambi's so low, there's not really any chance for him to win this clutch out. Just escaping would be an utter miracle here. It seems like without those ultimates in play, the triple ult spam of the last round, giving them the round, they're struggling a little bit here as Soulcast has basically won this one for them, and Ambi should just about be able to escape.
A round for Liquid. One that I don't want to say they should have had the previous one, but they definitely shouldn't have lost it the way they did. We'll definitely be happy to be bouncing back like that. It's a strange sight to see Yampy with 40 ACS, 7 rounds in a bind. You don't usually have that luxury, because he's had an AWP a couple of times. He's had his ultimate, and well, he's only got the 1 kill that he found in the previous round.
Yeah, I feel like, especially with how Giants have been playing on their defense, it's not really given him many opportunities. Like, this is a map where your operator on attack only really works if your opponents are actually battling for control, and they haven't. Like, most of the time, it's just been free orbs coming in for the Liquid side because they've been able to just force players back with utility. This time, it's a complete change of pace, though. They're going for a straight-up execution into this site, but they've been denied by the Molotovs and the counter smoke as well. So all of that utility might just go to waste.
Oh,
nice
3
setup.
HP! 3 HP as he gets out of there. Meadow pretty much on equal territory, but the nade finishes Solkas off. Patino boosted up and ready to go. Trying to deal the damage up close. Yampy's holding for him, though. Ready for this walkout. As they get the plant, he's going to start to back off, clear their back, make sure there's no flanking maneuvers coming in, but it's the blast pack from Fatino as he swings wide to catch the angle onto Scream that doesn't quite pan out the way that he hoped. Scream with a quick shot, and he's not going to finish it off. It's Yampy to come in and put 5 on the board. Liquid looking a lot better now, but that one still came pretty close, though I think Vodafone Giants are going to be struggling when it comes to buying up in this round.
It's still the weirdest thing to me that the amount of duelists that just seem so unbelievably comfortable playing Sage. Like, there's so many you can list. Like, Zipan is always the one that will spring to mind of just like, you get some of his best performances on an agent, which at least when you initially come into the game, it's like, oh, this is a Sentinel. This is one that is used for slowing people down and walling them off and healing teammates. And it's like, nah, nah, it's not.
Not how I play.
Heal yourself, get more headshots. That's the way.
Honestly, you know, if I'm playing with Scream, I'm not expecting him to heal me up. That's I think that's something you gotta give the man the room to play for himself. I've been hit for 10 HP, so I do not have heal, unfortunately. I've had to heal myself back up. Again, that sounds like playing with you, Tom.
Oh, I'm a great Sage. I just try and find ratty walls that I can stand on top of so that when I whiff the first 3 bullets, it doesn't matter so much. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's not nice. The double peek with the Sheriffs and a good kill for the Vodafone Giants side. But Yampy quickly deters any sort of a push down through Bath. And this should be a nice and clean round from this point forward. They are running into the last 2 players, and especially with one showing presence on the back site, I'm not sure if they're going to be ready for Hoodie. But as I say that, Solka swings into him and kills him, so it doesn't matter. Ready or not, there they come. 6-3. Team Liquid steaming ahead, but it is far from over.
Let's look
that
at
was a low buy.
now. But this is exactly what I'm talking about, though. It's like Yampy's job is to stop them getting aggressive. And so he's basically just gone right up the board because all he had to do in most of this round is teammates are making the plays, Soulcast is making the space, and he's just holding on and making sure that they can't push in on any of the other angles. So it's one of those things where I think a lot of the time on attack, you look at teams and you say, especially on maps like this, you're expecting Jet to be more of like a dash rifler play, like dashing into smokes, trying to make space for the team. But they don't really need that because Soulcast is already doing that job, so he can just patiently wait. That is a little bit different, though. I'm not sure how he gets away with that one.
Yeah, I think David P just went to put a smoke down the second that he got peeked. Solka's pushing up to be a little bit careful here. Showstopper not finding anything on paper, but it does open up a lot of space for them to push on site. Meadow, good shot to start it. As Yampy goes down, the trade is quick, but Vodafone Giants, they're still in it. The Seekers are going to reveal these positions. 3 towards Lamps. That's a whole lot of info as they start to close in the distance. That Molly not quite landing. They might now think that's a fake. They have no idea. They think the spike is Molly. That's a big mistake, but it only gets halfway. Solkas keeping them alive. The nade goes in, and it lands back on Solkas, but it's just enough to push Hoodie back. Still, the time is enough, and they will get that diffused through. A tight round from Vodafone Giants, but one that they just about managed to edge out.
Did Ambi run through that Molotov to fake the sound of his teammate taking Molotov damage? Because if that's what he did, that is genius. because it missed completely. So if you don't hear, like, if you hear no sound off a Molotov and you've heard someone tap it, you insta-peek. Like, that's the obvious play to make. So I don't know if it was intentional or if he's just looking to block for his teammate, but he almost helped them get it to half just by making that little bit of extra noise. And, well, Sokas, a little bit unlucky. That nade, I think, what, it was like 20 HP damage he needed to do to finish off that round. A really nice attempt. And I have to say, we've seen a few agent picks coming back in, like some old school agents from players like Scream, Soulcast. I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping that we see it a little bit more, although I am somewhat questioning if any of these comps will survive going forward.
Yeah, that's the big question, right? You don't know. They're trying things out here, seeing what works. Of course, with qualification already secured and only prize money on the line, this is where you take those little risks ahead of the EMEA and figure out what you want to do. Yampy getting a little bit of map control towards long. He's going to keep them back. There's no way they go out for a peek at this stage, having heard the op. But of course, look at how Vodafone Giants are set up for this. One player is watching for the jump out of Hookah. Meanwhile, you've got two. One baiting close on long, and the other playing with that judge, ready to take them down after Ambi either dies or falls back. I haven't spotted anyone on long. That won't pull them off these positions, mainly because they've got aggressive control of Bath with the alarm bot and the turret secondary watching for middle. This is such a good setup from Vodafone Giants. They are going to get so much value out of this. Ambi gets the first. He'll probably die to this, but now there's no way they expect Patino to be here, so it's an easy trade out, and now they jump out of Hookah to try and deal with the judge, but they run into Hoodie. Solkas, though, seems to be saving the day. There's 10 seconds left. He needs to go now and get on the side. He's not picked up the spike. Oh, he's lost it. He's lost it off that alone. That's a shame. Oh.
It might be a blessing in disguise, as they did have him somewhat surrounded, but that's got to be frustrating. Having an incredible map, as said, like him and Scream leading the charge. But it's 6-5, and as said, like for Giants, this is fine. Like going into their attacking side, they're going to be feeling pretty confident about this one. They've done it to Liquid before. Of course, it is a very different composition to what we saw, but again, like, I'm looking at this comp for Liquid and thinking you're going to have to get pretty damn aggressive on a lot of positions with the double duelist in play. So it's going to be a tough defense for sure, and I think they're definitely going to want to try and get this last round over the line.
Now, with Orbital Strike and Rez, things could look good for Team Liquid, but it's the showstopper in the hands of Fatino. They haven't had much impact so far when popped, but I can feel it this time. Being a big difference maker, and there it is. Popped straight away, and no, nothing to be found on that. But they have slowed the attack from Team Liquid. They bought themselves a little bit of time. And with two players on the site giving away their position, and Bath being completely covered by that alarm bot, which again is so pivotal to how they're playing right now. With having two eyes on mid, plus then Meadow tucked up close, if Team Liquid ran through that and didn't take Bath control, they would run into a three-man ace site where every single player is holding the choke point. At that point, you've probably lost the round immediately. But instead, there's going to be the switch up. They move towards Bath with a late lurk coming in from Solkas on middle. And this could be huge. If they manage to destroy this alarm bot and get an angle quick enough onto David P, or get on the site quick enough now that the rotate has come in from Fatino to the B site, the round could spiral into their favor so quickly, and Dave's going to be pushed out of position straight away. Now they can get out easily.
Yeah, they're going to try and clear a lot of these angles by sectioning off a position with the wall. Oh, this could be perfect. There's not a lot of time left for them to actually do anything about this. We're also seeing the Hunter's Fury sent through to try and deny the plant, but they are going to switch up their positions. Clearing Meadow there was so integral for having a chance to win this round, but they do it well, and Yumpy's there to close the half out. Liquid going with a lead 7-5, Mitch, but as I was sort of mentioning, a lot of the strengths we've seen out from Giants have come on their attack, not only just today, but throughout every single match of Bind that they've played.
Yeah, I can see there being a big turnaround for Vodafone Giants if they win this pistol. That's going to push them right back into an even scenario. To be honest, 7-5, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're happy enough with where you're at, regardless of what team you are. I think especially for Vodafone Giants, it seems that when they're on the attack, they have so much more room to play with that they're not... I think for newer teams, it's always going to be a problem on the defensive side, because calling for rotations and finding setups that work for you are going to be one of the more difficult things to do. versus attack side executes. But Vodafone Giants still did an absolutely fantastic job. As I said, I'm a big fan of the setup that they had with the 3 players on B and the Killjoy holding down A. And that is a very quick pick. Fatino thought he beat the timing there, but apparently they were ready.
They're going to section off the orb and get themselves a kill for it. David P trying to be a bit sneaky. He's going to get caught as well. Now, this has stopped being a pincer as they've walled it off, so they're going to have to wait for the wall to break and then try and help out Yumpy a little bit. This might just be handing the round away, though. Scream will at least come back in with one. It's an awkward fight. Oh, Scream even tweeting about how his pistol rounds have been slight whiffs. He's now trapped as well. It is just Liquid players getting caught in awkward positions again and again, but he's got to try and find a fight out of this.
Yeah, there is no way. Equalized into the 2v2. Cryptix is holding close outside of Bath, and that's where they're coming. This is going to be all on Cryptix to shut this push down. With Ambi being low HP, it's definitely doable. Gonna drone out to start, though. And if that drone gets followed, look at the flank by Link. They know exactly what's going on. The steps heard by Cryptix communicated over. And now Link has that flank. Right in the nick of time, he's going to come around this corner and take Sova down. All they have to do is deal with Meadow. The timing's actually not that great, so they're ready to take the duel. The bait's in, but again, they have literally no idea where Link is. This is the freest round of his life. How does this guy always end up behind the opponents? It's unbelievable how consistently he can pull out these flanks.
It's probably from all those squats he's doing, you know? Just keeping himself limber, always able to go on those long walks behind them without getting tired. That's of course what he was doing there. There'd be nothing else implied. He almost, as you said, like it looked like he was going to catch Ambi for free, but yeah, almost the trigger finger actually ends up helping him to just get the final kill at the end. Still a little bit closer than maybe it should have been after getting those sort of freebies at the beginning. I'm very surprised by the TP that came through from Yumpy. Like, that just seemed ludicrous, but hey, it works out in the end. 8-5. I still think this is actually a fairly important pistol win for Liquid, as I'm expecting a decent amount from the Giants' attack, but it's going to have to wait a little bit. They'll be battling for the orbs as well, and there is an investment into a Marshal here. I like this from Cryptix. He's just going to sit on the back, now looking to be almost spammed out of things. Link holding on as he has support coming through from Screen. Well, fairly easy cleanup in the end.
Yeah, not too much to think about there for Team Liquid versus that very weak buy from Vodafone Giants. They just completely decimated, saving over every single weapon that they can. That's only armor or shields that they have to reinvest into. It's Scream right now, 19-9. I always see people having these blind conversations, regardless of where you go, like whether it's your Reddit or just your forums in general, of like, oh, Scream, he's not as good as he was in CS, he's washed up, blah, blah, blah. And then you like look at a game like this, like, all right, buddy. Tell me, Grand Finals 19-9 on Bind. I don't know if that's quite as washed. Not my definition, anyways.
Everybody's gonna have their haters, even your Screams, which I don't really understand why. I guess jealousy. I think that's the only legitimate reason.
On his hair alone.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I've got that jealousy. The aim in itself is bad enough, but yeah, no, I'm jealous of Scream's hair. Who isn't? I'm jealous of anyone's hair, but that's not the point. 9-5. Just 4 rounds away from becoming back-to-back Challengers 2 champions. Bear in mind that they did this the last time facing off against Fnatic. That is tough, though. The execution thrown in, the Molotov put into place to force him out of the site, and they'll have this one for free. They're also going to take control of Elba, making this retake ever more difficult. Now, they haven't cleared out Lamps, because of course there's always one man there, and 2 kills in quickly for Solkaz. I'm not even sure how. Now Link comes in with a flank as well. This turns down to just 2 players remaining. Ooh.
And Hoodie almost manages to get one as he pushes out to the side. Both players have their back turned, but Solkaz spins on a dime, man. He got the kill on long and then turned and finished it all for the 4th. Wow. Showstopper online, ready to roll. Gets it halfway, lets his teammate get the rest. And this is going to be 10-5. A huge round for Liquid to win out here. Like, when you're on that kind of disadvantage in weaponry, you come in, you get free upgrades, you get the round win, Showstopper online. I mean, all the win conditions are being ticked right now for Team Liquid. And again, I want to shout out Solkaz for having such a huge turnaround. I've said it a bunch of times, but I'll say it again, Tom. In December, this guy was looking like a pretty weak chain, a weak link of the Team Liquid side. No pun intended. But over the last couple of months, when he's picked up Sky, he's literally become one of the best Skys in the world. He's unbelievable on that agent. And now even his Raze is showing up here, almost matching the caliber that Scream's bringing to the table.
Oh, young Pete. Now looking to just style on some of the remaining players. It's not a great investment, and the nade to force him back and the peek out. It's perfect. Soulcat's looking at home on this agent. Now they're going to try and do their best to counter Link, and he's still going to get both of them. All that utility put into place. They wanted him to do that, and they still weren't able to kill him. The judge, ridiculous as ever. Come on out. Ambi, the last man standing. Not a lot of hope in this round, but well, he's almost guaranteed to get his ultimate for the next, at least. I also wonder, Midge, do you reckon that after this performance on Raze, even if they were just testing it for this match, you just have Sliggy just sort of like writing in the book, okay, maybe we can as a raise it now, because it's looking really good, especially against a team that, as we've sort of mentioned already, haven't actually lost on this map yet.
That's the thing, right? Like with this roster, obviously making some changes coming into challengers too, quite a couple.
30 seconds left.
They are undefeated on every map up until this series, at least, the exception of Icebox. Yeah.
Ahead.
He's still going for this with 20 seconds, and look, I respect the attempt, but it's not going to happen. They even had Showstopper just in case. But to be honest, if he got that kill, maybe they spend the Showstopper just to guarantee the round, and that would be worthwhile. You lose the weapon, but you manage to take an ultimate that can single-handedly win the round for Team Liquid, coming into, you know, round 11, round 12 on the board for them, then yeah, that's worthwhile. This was sickening. What do you do? Like, what do you do there? They did everything right. They naded him out. They forced him into the open, into a 2v1 fight. Like, I don't think they could have done a single thing better in that situation. And it's a judge that comes around the... If he has a Phantom or a Vandal, he doesn't win that. He loses it easily, but it's the judge.
Liquid have been running a lot of tests today, and it seems like they're passing most of them. 11-5. This is it, though. If we're going to have that impressive attack half we were expecting from Giants, it has to begin now. Now, they've proven that they can fight back from 10-2 down. So 11-5 is not quite as bad, although it is just that little bit closer to the grand final being over. The extra cash going into the pockets of Team Liquid. And maybe even some better seeding going forward as well. We know that that can always play a part with how many strong teams. Well, I would love to see someone perfectly predict who's going to be in those top 4 spots for Masters, because I think I could put at least 8 of the teams in there.
There's going to be one person with a screenshot of a bracket that they'd actually like perfectly predicted everything that happened on the run-up. And I guarantee they've just made like 30 different predictions and screenshot them all.
If someone has it for this challenges as well, then I'll just be like, you're mad. Like, you're actually mad.
Yeah, you need help.
If you got this right, you're wrong for getting it right.
Yeah. Like, I gave Vodafone Giants credit as individuals, but I didn't think they were ready yet. I thought it was going to take a lot more time.
Using just to kill him, and he's barely taken any damage.
He takes a lick of damage.
What? Molotov, paint shell? Like, there's so much in there.
Tom, they've used all that, and they're still not going hookah. They're like, all right, no, we didn't kill him.
Molotov. Never mind.
They're like, he's not dead. We've naded him. He's not dead. Okay, we're gonna just fall back then, and they're gonna completely leave it.
The worst thing is as well, because he's heard nothing, there's not even going to be a rotation from Liquid. They're going to just sit back and leave the remaining 2 players here. You've also got the operator patiently waiting, but it forces him to take a shot at least.
Yampy, running about with his knife out, has not had a good time on that one. Hunter's Fury eliminating Cryptics in the trade puts Vodafone Giants with a good chance of getting this plant down. The problem is Scream. He's coming up through the bathroom, and they have no idea. Oh, that's so sneaky. He even connected a shot on the meadow there. The spray not good, though. Showstopper. Maybe now's the time to use it, and yes, it is. Up and over, but it's a trade. A quick... Ambi is so fast on these headshots. 13 seconds. Meadow can't rotate. He has to go for the plant here. And Link was gambling on a rotation. He's playing with a judge in hand as he rotates over. Meadow has to stick this. no time to get off of it. And I don't know, where's the closest weapon? I think, depending
all
where
on
Meadow
site.
goes, there's one a little bit close to the spawn, so just above the A on the map. But if Link gets out there and picks that up, he'll be hurt immediately. And that gives huge information to Meadow. I don't know how Link needs to play this. Do you just pull the pistol out and try to sneak in through lamps? But the turret will spot him, then he hears it. I don't think he's got this. This is going to be really tough. Meadow just needs to run the clock down. He knows the player's on it. There's the judge. Spotted. Easy kill. Well done by Meadow. Good post plant with the turret inside of lamps. He had all his bases covered. And that puts another round on the board. Good fight. And really, they don't win that without Ambi. Like, the shot that he hit there onto Solcus was so quick, so clean. And if he doesn't manage to get that trade, it's a 2v1 that Meadow probably never wins.
Yeah, I think there was a few moments as well. Like the fact that I think Hoodie actually runs straight through the orbital strike and manages to kill Yumpy, who was just expecting anybody to be there to fall back. So it gets them the opener in a position that was really awkward, like an operator and an orbital strike, and you're having to run into one of them. Now Yumpy, they're just denying him space. They want to take this orb. It's going to get the orbital strike now in for David P, which we know for executions can be an absolutely massive piece of utility. And there's still going to be a few pieces missing here when it comes to the liquid purchase, although you have to say the shotgun is really not one of them.
Oh, that orbital strike doesn't quite get the value that you would hope. Yampy, nice connection and more possibly with Ambi down to 14 HP. Scream wants to swing wide and take the fights, and that he does, winning them as he goes. 2 players remaining on the other side. Make that one. Meadow has to clutch it out yet again. A 1v4 and the first goes his way. No heals possible for him. Spike way back in the spawn. He needs to take these duels, and that's a good double swing. 12-6. Well handled by Liquid. And now just one away on match and series point to take the grand final here in Challengers 2.
Yeah, the deadly duo leading the way, but we're now going to see if there is enough for a response here. Obviously coming down to just one man standing in the prior. And losing every single player into this one. I think financially it might be a little bit awkward coming through for the side of Giant. So I'm curious what's if... Yeah, okay, a little bit awkward was understatement of the year. 3 pistols. They're going to go for the counter shotgun. The ultimate all-in play. Can you out-shotgun the shotgun king?
This would be great if they can, though, because they have lockdown. As soon as they get control... Oh my god, he's in the smoke! Link taking the fight to them. Now, Cryptic's down below could be in trouble. This is where the lockdown will probably come into play, but these guys are being lit up, and through the wall, Meadow goes down. Another spray as Scream takes Hoodie, and Ambi is left alone. A 1v4 to win out with a Sheriff in hand, and that's one way to start it. The Odin push from Yampy. Yeah, you can't help but feel like it was a little bit of disrespect, but in the end, it works out anyways. 13-6. Team Liquid have won on Bind, and in this BO5, the grand final of Champions.